Hi, my name is Elissa Weinzimmer. I'm a vocal health educator and the founder of Voice-Body Connection, and I'm so excited today to be sharing with you my intro video to my new video series, How to Warm Up. So people have been asking me to make this video for a while. They've been saying, Elissa, I don't know how to warm up. Teach me how to warm up. And I totally want to, but I've resisted doing a video like this because I feel really strongly that I want to teach you to fish instead of fish for you, if you will, that classic metaphor, right? What I mean by that is if I were to put a 10-minute video online and say, okay, follow along, do this, and you'll be all warm, I wouldn't be doing my full job. It feels really important to me to share with you why we warm up and how to warm up so that you can do it for yourself in the best way you need every day. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to share with you right now is a little progression, a series of how your voice works. And I cover this in great detail in my online class, How Your Voice Works. And you can actually watch the overview video for free, so you can do that anytime, maybe after you watch this. But for now, let's just go through this sequence, because when you understand these steps of how your voice works, it's much easier to understand how to use it and also how to warm it up. So the answer to the question, what happens when I want to make sound, is this 7-step progression. So the first step is that I have an impulse, right? And when I say an impulse, I mean a desire to speak. And interestingly enough, I believe that impulses come from the cells of our body, and our cells send a message up to our brain, and our brain interprets that message, and then it sends it back down into our body, right? So the second step is body. So we have an impulse, our body responds to that impulse. If the impulse is I need to run, then you take a step. If the impulse is I'm gonna punch you, then you do that, right? But ultimately, the impulse is often leading the body to move in a way that is the beginning of a breath, right? So breathing, obviously very important. It's the power source for our voice, and it's the next step in how your voice works. So you have an impulse, your body responds. One of the responses of your body is the movements that activate an inhalation. And then as you're exhaling, the exhale travels up through your airway. It encounters your vocal cords or vocal folds, right? So this is what I like to call the onset of sound, okay? And that could also be called phonation, it could be called vibration. The sound is when the vocal cords come together and they're vibrating, and it chops up the airwaves into frequency, right? And so we have a fundamental frequency happening at the level of our vocal cords, but then the very cool thing that happens right above that is that the sound bounces around inside the tube that is called the vocal tract, which is from your vocal cords, or that level is called your glottis, up through your throat into your oral passages and your nasal passages. That's kind of a two-pronged tube. And as it travels up through that tube, it bounces off the walls and it becomes resonant. Resonance is when that sound actually takes on multiple frequencies above the fundamental frequency, harmonics we might call them. If you ever look at your voice on a spectrogram, you see those little bands of energy above the bottom line. That's your resonance, right? After resonance, if we only had resonance, we'd have sort of like this, sound coming out of us, but obviously we're able to make speech sounds. So the way we do that is through articulation, right? And articulation, let me just make that a little bit easier to read. Articulation is when our mouth, our teeth, our lips, our tongue, our soft palate move in different coordinated ways to either block or shape the airflow into speech sounds. And then finally, after you have speech sounds, we have an agreed upon order that you can put them in. That's either, we might call it English or we might call it Mandarin, and that order is called a language, right? And that's when we can start to have text and meaning, and let me make sure I spell language correctly for you. Okay, so you have impulse, body, breath, sound, resonance, articulation, and language. That's how your voice works. It's also how your warm-up works, if you will, because you gotta warm up your impulse, your body, your breath, your sound, your resonance, your articulation, and your language if you want to warm up effectively. You want to be able to use all of those elements of your voice well. Now, before we finish up this intro video, there's one last thing I want to share with you, which is a big question. It has 3 letters in it. I'll erase this so that I can write it on the board for you. And it is this question. Why? I'll put a question mark too. Why? Why do we warm up, right? So I think we warm up because we're letting our body, we're letting our voice know how we would like it to function. Does that make sense? Because here's the thing, if we do a warm-up by rote, if we just follow along with someone else, if we're a dutiful voice user who's doing our warm-up like we're supposed to, which I did for a long time, then we really aren't doing what is necessarily best for us in the moment. We're not filtering it through our own needs and experience. So if we ask ourselves this why question, why do we warm up, then we know that we want to get our voice functioning optimally that day, right? So we can go through that assessment of all of the steps we just went through and say, you know what, I'm not feeling connected to my impulses, or today my resonance feels like it needs some tuning, right? And then we know what to warm up and we know how to focus our warm up so that we can do it really efficiently and effectively. Okay, so what's going to happen after this intro video is that every week I'm going to be posting a new video with a very simple, it'll be like a 3 to 5 minute video that is a warm-up that you can do. And I'm going to go through each of those steps every week. So the first week will be impulse, and then we'll do body and breath and so on, and through the cycle over and over. So we're going to amass lots of exercises for you to do, and then it will be your choice to do what you think is most important on any given day. You can add it as a pre-warm-up to your normal vocal singing warm-up. You can do it before you go into an audition or on stage to speak in front of an audience when you're public speaking. So these warm-ups are valuable for anything you're going to use your voice for, and I'm really excited to start sharing them with you. So see you very soon. You can subscribe to this channel. You can sign up for the Voice Body Connection mailing list and or visit voicebodyconnection.com. And here we go, how to warm up. See you soon.